Good morning, everyone. My name is Sudhanshu Kumar, and I am currently pursuing my PGDM at Doon Business School. Today, I am here to talk a bit about my white paper, the incessant tug of war of framing labor laws in Indian context. Why is framing labor law for India such a big problem? The question can only be answered if we look at the parties involved, the relationship they have, and the ultimate goal of these laws. So, the parties involved are employees and employers. The essential nature of the relationship between them is an exploitative one, and the ultimate objective is to promote and actuate growth while simultaneously protecting employee interests. Once we understand the importance of the above statements, we understand the magnitude of the task. It becomes a task of tall order. In my opinion, labor laws, unlike criminal laws, are bound to be discriminatory to some extent for both employers and employee because the function of labor law, unlike criminal laws, is not rigid. It changes depending upon the demand of the economy and the labor market of the country. And I personally do not think of labor laws as rigid laws, but as a code of conduct for both the employers and the employee to create a sustainable harmonious relationship between them, making it mutually beneficial to create and sustain such relations and such laws for such laws in the first place to exist. There's a constant environment of dissatisfaction among the employees and employers regarding the labor laws that are being framed, and this has become a constant for the employers and the employee because they have had their valid reasons and there are loopholes that are being exploited by both the parties. But I want all the employees and the employers to understand that these laws are not the prime issue. It is the objective that the law is trying to achieve. Addressing this aspect is also one of the reasons that I decided to write this paper. India is a very unique country and it has its own sets of problems. All of us know the primary traits of Indian labor market: extremely large, extremely unskilled, poverty stricken, hungry to succeed. Then we have our trade unions and their political affiliations. Trade unions have two funds, like in under Section 15 and Section 16, out of which funds in Section 16 can be used for political purposes. And almost all of the major political parties have proper association with either of some of the labor unions, which tends to corrupt the entire purpose of the labor union because they have political agendas as well now. The World Bank in 2008 said laws created to protect the workers often hurt them. Basing it on the basing it on the studies conducted by Besley and Burgess that proved that pro-labor policies led to lower output, employment, investment, and productivity, which acted as the basis for many such arguments against the labor law altogether, and created a scenario where labor laws were erroneously pitched as pro-labor. But later that theory was faced quite hard criticism from Bhattacharya in 2006, D'Souza in 2010, and Karak and Basu in 2019. It was disproved on the basis of faulty research mechanism and methodologies and selection of traits. The regime, then we come down to regime. Now, regime also plays a very important role because the labor laws are also governed by their own, by their ideologies, the goals of the country, and they are the one who are responsible for framing the labor laws. So their ideology will reflect in those policies. So, for example, if you have a capitalistic government, you might have policies that are more catering more towards the employers, or if you have a, or the other government wants to take a pro-labor stance, then the policies that you observe, the labor law provisions that you will observe, will be more in favor of employees. Then we have the circumstances. The best example of how entire employment structure can change and can be turned upside down is COVID-19. How it has changed the requirement, the terms on which the employees are working, and work from home and everything is being introduced. It is one of the reasons why it's been a widespread abandonment of labor laws. Obviously, COVID, we have already read about it, and especially in Uttar Pradesh, the labor laws have been abandoned for about a month or so now. So the circumstances have a lot of effect on labor laws. Once again, I would like to highlight why I I find labor laws to be quite different from uh, what you would say, uh, what you would say criminal law is, because the thing is, criminal laws, they, for example, if a punishment is to be handed out for a rape has a specific definition and it works. But what labor laws are trying to do is a much more dynamic thing. Definitions change, requirement change. So that is why these laws are not actually laws. They feel like more of a code of conduct. If followed correctly, they can do a lot of good. So I want, see, the purpose and one of the objective is this. I want the reader of this paper, especially employers and the employees, to understand how difficult, how high expectation, and how high stakes job this is. Framing labor laws, and when you add the COVID-19 situation into everything, where the economy has taken such a beating, and you want to have a recovery trajectory, and then how do you match, because you require employees to go all the way, you give it the 100%, 110%, and when this will cross over into employee exploitation, the boundaries are very thin. I believe that this is the time for employers and employees to get together on the same page, because the employers and employees form a huge chunk of the social fabric. That means employment problems will be equal to societal problems, and eventually they're going to trickle down everywhere. The entire social fabric of our society, it might get torn because of that. The faster we get to building the code of conduct that can sustain industrial relationship, the better we'll be able to cope with the situation. Although the situation is quite worse, but still, this is the basic overview of my white paper. I've gone over these topics in detail in my white paper. I recommend that you give it a reading, as well as create a deeper understanding of the problem. Uh, while I'm making this video, I'm already COVID positive, and I wish anybody and everybody to wear a mask, take care of yourselves. Do not go around here and there without any reason. Keep yourself safe. Thank you.